Hello everyone, my name is Deepak and I'm a tax code advisor. And today we'll be taking a look at what is happening in Fresno, California area. So this was one of the area that was brought up on the discussion call, and you guys wanted to know a little bit more data, a little bit more numbers. So I did some digging and compiled the report for you and try to give you as much information as possible. But please do note that this information may be completely incorrect. So I would strongly recommend that you do your own research. Try to find out this information. Oftentimes, when clients come to me, they buy properties or they invest in other real estate ventures without really looking at all kind of numbers. So, you know, think of this as a template. That's something that you might want to find out before you make a decision. Obviously, more data you have, the better it is for you. But I'm not guaranteeing any of this information. So just please only use it as a starting point and then go do your own research. All right. Having that said, once again, I'm not a realtor. I'm not here to sell you any kind of real estate. I do tax advice. So anywhere you are in the country, you want to know my opinion about anything, then you set up a consultation appointment and you talk to me. So please don't send me WhatsApp messages or emails that, hey, Deepak, what do you think about this area? Obviously, I do discussion calls, and on those discussion calls, I'm available for free. But other than that, I have a living to make. So if you need to know my opinion, please do set up a consultation appointment. So I hope you can understand that. And how do you do that? Just go to taxcodeadvisors.com and you can set up consultation from there. All right. So let's talk about Fresno market. So I looked at all bunch of zip codes in that area. So if you are from Fresno, California, or you're looking into Fresno, California, you that's what you want to do. You want to start out with a zip code right here. So I kind of made a list of all the neighboring areas there, and I took the average home price and then I put the average rental rate in that area. Now, if you buy a bigger size home, then obviously rental rate will be more. So, for example, these are just averages. Maybe maybe you have a 5 bedroom or 6 bedroom house. Obviously, rate will be a little bit more. So this is don't see it as a the exact number. This is just a simple average in the area right now. So take a look. Typically average home is what, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, maybe 1,500 square foot. So I guess that would be the average there, and anything beyond that the rate will be a little bit more, and then I kind of multiply that by 12, so kind of gives you an yearly revenue as how much what you can make. So for example, if you ask me, hey, which area makes the most money in Fresno area, then obviously right here can make almost $42,000, 93730. So right here, once again, if you have a bigger house, that number will be way bigger. But to make $42,000, you would need almost $644,000 worth of home. So quite a bit of money to spend in Fresno. And then what I did was I took this yearly revenue and I divided it by the home value to kind of give me an idea how many years it's going to take to pay off. Now, again, I'm not counting in here how much you're paying in interest or how much you're paying in property taxes, because those two numbers will fluctuate. So just to come up with a number that is common to everyone, I assume that you purchase the house for cash and there's no other cost or anything like that. So obviously, when you're doing your calculations, you want to add all of those factors back in to come up with a number. But for example, if you ask me, hey, where can I buy something that I can pay off the fastest, then you can see we have this 93702 area code, as well as right here 93721 area code. So let me highlight both of these. All right, so you can see this one we can pay off in less than 13 years. Same thing here, less than 13 years. And interestingly, if you take a look, the revenue is not that much. See, we're only making $16,000, only making $19,000, but you can pay off rather quickly because the homes are cheap in those areas. So that's something you want to take a look at. And then I looked at the area and see what's the appreciation look like, because that's what we care about. So you can see that this particular area is not appreciating a whole lot, and that's why the valuation compared that to their income is not bad either. So you can see it's a little bit overvalued, but whenever the way I look at it, whenever we are buying any kind of asset, whether it's stock or whether we're buying real estate or for that matter any other asset, it's very hard to buy them at a fair value. Does that mean that you can't buy them fair value? No, there are times when you can buy them at fair value, but just those time windows are rather small. So you can wait until they get fair value, or you can get them by paying a little bit more premium providing you have enough growth. So that's why it's important for you to take a look that, hey, look, you're paying 14% more for the house, and it's only growing at 2.6%. So there's not a whole lot of growth in that area. So be very careful what you're buying. Are you buying growth, or are you buying just an asset that's going to be a good income producing asset for you over time? So if you, one way I would look at it, I would say, look, if I buy something like this, I'm not planning on seeing any appreciation, at least not a whole lot. And in 12 years, my property is completely paid off. And, maybe I'm putting, let's say, $40,000 down. And after 20 years, I'm sorry, after 10 years, I have a dividend income of almost $1,300 a month. So I'm making $16,000 a year without doing anything. So one way to look at it, okay, I put, let me do a quick math. So it's a simple compound interest calculator. You can get it from investor.gov. Very common. You can just do a Google search on it. Let's assume that we were buying that property and we were putting down 40,000. But instead of putting 40,000 down, maybe I put it in a stock market or some other investment for over the next 12 years that produces me, that gives me 10% interest rate. So if I do that, that property will just roughly generate almost $125,000 altogether after 12 years. So, that's what my $40,000 can buy me if I'm able to generate 10% return every year. Now, on the other hand, if I have this property after 12 years, I actually have, obviously this home is going to be appreciating at 2.6% per year. Let's assume that. And the initial value is 200K. So let me do a quick math on that. So let's take a look here. Same thing, our compound interest calculator. I put in $200,000 as initial investment altogether. And then length of time is again same 12 years, and the property value, let's say, just only grows by 2% per year. If I do that, that gets me to roughly $253,000, obviously double than what I would have in stock market if I was earning 10%. Why? Because of leverage. So obviously I like this idea better. I would rather take $250,000 after 12 years instead of taking $125,000. So this looks very good. And but there are other things that you need to take a look at that as well. So for example, whenever the market is down, this area sees a major price drops. So for example, right now 40% of the properties are dropping prices because they're not able to sell them. So definitely pay attention to that. Another problem I have is just a relatively small area. Only 7,600 people live here. So, you just don't have as much population to market your property. 16% of the people who live in that area are remote workers. So if those people start to go back to other major cities, that can have a major impact, especially because there's just not that many people here. And then the vacancy rate is pretty high as well, as you can see 8%. So although the numbers looks pretty good, as you just saw the math, but there are some concerns. So I'll be taking a look at many other factors. For example, what kind of schools we have, and historically what kind of income they have, all that kind of good stuff. So if you are thinking about getting into an area and you kind of already made up a mind, or you at least have few areas that you have decided that you want to look into it, then I would recommend just set up a personal consultation with me, and I'll walk you through with how I collect the data, and I'll share a little bit more details. We'll take a look at some of the history behind these numbers and how that area is particularly growing. So I think having more information can definitely help you a lot. So once again, I can't tell you what to buy, what not to buy, but I can certainly help you collect the data that I have. But once again, um, I also get these data from various tools, realtor.com, zillow.com, and some of the other open source data books and stuff like that. So you can find all that information out there. I'll just makes it a little bit easy for you, so you don't have to spend many hours yourself. Uh, but uh, but you have these numbers, so you can take a look at and do it for any area that you like. So let's say some of the, for example, if we go to uh, like for example, I really personally speaking, I like towns that are a little bit bigger. Honestly speaking, I don't like areas that are way too small, because that's where you get the most rent. So for example, if I need to figure out which area probably paying me most rent, I'll probably say some right here, 53 381. So let's see which area is that. Yeah, so you can see that's producing 42,000. You see that's like um, more than anything else. But that's not always true. So you can take a look at this area right here. That is also producing 42. But once again, you can see the price is almost just as expensive here as well, even though they don't have that much population. So be careful with that. So if I had a choice between this area and that area, I'll probably stick with one with more population just because I have more possibilities. You can see there's only 12% people who are remote workers here. So if 4 or 5% go back, it's not going to have that big of an impact. So I'll rather stick with a little bit safer bet than taking a little bit more risky bet. So there are many other factors in here when you're thinking about real estate, but at least this kind of gives you a good starting point here. So hopefully this is helpful to you. I also put value to income ratio here. That means if we take this number right here and divide it by the average income in that area, then we kind of get this math right here. So you can see, even though this area the prices are high, but so is the income, and that's why the income ratio is low, right? So that means more people can afford it. But if you go to for example, right here, areas like this, that can be quite risky as well. So definitely pay attention to that. For example, if I take a look at this area that we talked about earlier for 201, I look at the value to income ratio is 6. That means the average household is probably making what, $35,000 a year. That's just not a whole lot of income. Versus if I take a look at here, I think the average household is making $150,000 a year. So once again, I would rather make a little bit more less appreciation, um, but or pay premium for a property and be a little bit more secured. So there's always premium for all those. So there's a lot in this one Excel sheet. So hopefully you find what you're looking for. But as always, if there's anything I can do to help you out, just go to taxcodeadvisors.com. You can set up a 30-minute or 1 hour consultation, and we can look into any of these numbers in a little bit more detail. I'll be happy to help you out there. All right, guys, thank you so much. And if there's anything else I can do, then definitely join it on the next discussion call, and we'll take a look at some other interesting data in the market.